Hey everybody, Elme here, back again with another speed build, but this time it's a speed renovation, specifically a speed renovation of the Brindleton Boathouse from the Cats and Dogs world. For starters, I like to say I've always loved this house since the pack came out. I love to move here and renovate it, but it's always needed a renovation in my mind. It needs some work. So I decided to keep the main bones and integrity of it, but I wanted some more bedrooms and honestly just a more functional layout and more lights, because I mean, come on. It's really dark in here. So usually when I did this, I would make the upstairs like one big lofted bedroom with an ensuite, well, I guess ensuite if it's a loft, with an upstairs full bath. And then downstairs, I'd put one other bedroom, kind of where they had that separate room. And that's all it would be. This time, I was able to make it into a three-bedroom house with a primary downstairs, two bedrooms upstairs. And I want to say it's 2.5 bath total when I'm done. To be honest, I filmed this a while ago and just kind of sat on this footage. I've been more so streaming than making these speed builds, but we are going to try to do both. So as you see here, I wanted to make the whole place a little simpler and more like woody, cottagey kind of vibes, a good mix between the two. I didn't want it to be too like log cabiny, anything like that, and also not too cottage, but I wanted it to fit a bit more rustic essence out here. So I decided to keep it pretty simple and do a white and brown color scheme across the entire thing. And I really like how it turns out. I will say this build is definitely not my personal style. Like if I was gonna build this in my own style, the color scheme at the very least would be different, and it has things like a formal dining room, which in my life I don't really find much use for, but I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people like those, and it can be useful in The Sims. If you could make the dinner party work right, you could have one there, nice big table. I also really want it to be kind of cutesy. I know I want rustic, but again, I didn't want straight rustic or straight cottage. A good mixture of the cutesy and the rustic together. So that's what we're doing here with adding the flower boxes, and everything on the outside ends up being that brown and white color scheme, which again, not my style, but I can respect it, and I think it turns out really cute for what it is, and just honestly a marked improvement. Another thing to note is there isn't no pack limitation in this. I rarely limit packs in my builds. I'm kind of thinking about doing another base game home soon. That was kind of fun for me. Maybe like a speed build challenge or something. But for this one, I really just wanted to let myself put anything wherever I wanted. I also tried that like mossy roof from Werewolves that I really like, but it didn't quite work. It drew too much focus with the green, considering again how everything else is that brown and white. So I switched to this one, which is honestly one of my favorites. It's from Snowy Escape. I really like this one, and then there's a base game like scalloped one I really like. Those are probably my two favorites in the whole house, or not in the whole house, the whole game. So what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out the floor plan. I bounced around a lot with this floor plan, but I did end up cutting a good amount of it out. Like you didn't have to see me go up and down, back and forth. The one thing I'm wondering is, did I put a half bath down here? I did. I think I put a half bath in the entry. This house also does have like a dedicated formal entry space. Yeah, there's a half bath designed for back there, which is really nice. And again, the formal dining room, and then this middle section is going to become kind of kitchen, living space. That bedroom off the front is going to be the primary bedroom, and they have an ensuite as well. I wanted to use a lot of big windows in the dining room because this spot in the world is absolutely beautiful. I didn't want to use the big glass windows out front because I feel like it's just a totally different style that didn't quite work, but I wanted to have at least one wall of them. So I do end up deleting them in the back to fit in a bar, but I kept that side. Again, just a bunch of big, bright, open windows. It doesn't look the best from the outside, but I think sometimes it's just a sacrifice you have to make. What we're doing right now is we're functioning on the inside of the game or of the build. We got the kitchen placed with my absolutely favorite, as always, for rent counters. Obsessed with them. I use them in every build. It's actually kind of a problem. I think I even have them in my current legacy house build, which is wild because that does not match the style. I mean, they do, but like, I don't know. I'm obsessed with those counters essentially. I have a problem. I need to start trying to use other ones. We're going back in now and we're adding some rugs. Again, I didn't want this place to be super colorful or super patterned. I want everything to be kind of understated, simple tones. I think the most I use inside is like blue I add around, but really just browns, creams, greens, a lot of neutral colors in here for the palette, which is probably why I would never live here, because for me, I love colorful. I'm a very colorful person, both in my style and just, way of life. I also really wanted to have some windows up in the entry, and I go back and forth a lot of how I wanted to do it. I end up removing one of them, so there's just one window off to the side. Again, Not the best from the outside, but I think it looked better than having the two. And it was really important to me to have some kind of window in that landing, or else it just seemed all dark and sad, which we didn't want. But again, I also didn't want to really adjust the exterior walls or anything like that. To me, this is someone bought the house, gutted it, but kept the bones and the foundation. So we went in now. We added a bunch of pendant lights. I love the ones above the living room. They kind of have that wickery kind of feel. I thought they fit really nice there. We got a cute little area. I also gave them a cat tree for kittens because, who doesn't want to have cats? I, in my life, have three: Mr. Monarch, Prince Zuko, and Lady Lucy Van Pelt. I've decided all my cats I have for the rest of my life are going to need surnames. So we're also going to the forming dining room. If I was to live in this house or honestly play in this house, depending on your needs, this could also be a really good skill building room. For this build specifically, I wanted to have the formal dining space, but if your Sims have a bunch of wacky hobbies, like, I don't know why you need the cupcake machine these days. You don't. But like if they had the cupcake machine and you needed a place to put it, or the woodworking table, robotics, this would be a good room to put them in. I did also put a bar back there though, which is really useful if you have in the mixology skill or hosting a party or anything like that. It does work up against the wall like that. Sims obviously just can't sit at it because there's no room for the stools, but it does function there just fine. This was also recently after Lovestruck came out, and that bistro kit came out a little before that, which I'm absolutely obsessed with those posters from. They gave just the right vibe. Honestly, I think that particular like the dancing pictures were a good inspiration for me for this build. We're going in now and writing a bunch of details. I haven't really touched the upstairs yet, but I really wanted to make it feel cute and cozy and lived in. And even though it's a pretty neutral color palette with mostly just browns and whites, I really wanted it to feel cozy and homey still, and I really think we are able to achieve that. I actually think that the white and brown combo kind of complemented in that way because it was really simple and just light and airy. We're moving on to the primary bedroom. I don't love the bed I picked. Like the plaid with the brown headboard kind of give me like, I don't know how to describe this, but my cousins growing up, they had a lake house, and it gives me like guest bedroom lake house vibes instead of primary bedroom vibes. It's not ugly. It's just again not my style. But I do end up keeping it because I do think again it worked really well with the house. I don't know if you can hear, but I have a cat yelling at me. In fact, I have this pop up pet pick carrier I got when I have to lock them up because my doors, like if I have someone coming over, I had a broken window I needed fixed, so I had to lock them up in something. So I got a big pop up cat thing, but now I just leave it up because they're obsessed. But anyways, my place doesn't have any interior doors. I live in a trailer, an old one. It works for me. I live alone. I don't need doors out, in the inside. I have a curtain for when I have guests. Anyways, we're working on a kid's bedroom now. It was pretty big room, so I wanted to put two beds, make it feel more full. I didn't really feel like a kid needed all this space. I debated putting the other sim in here because I designed this for two adults, some cats, two children, and a teen. So I was going to make this the teen room and the other one the kids room. But even then, it's just really a large room. So I decided to make it for two children instead. I used the matching quilt swatches of this bed because again, I think it gives that similar like cozy, rustic, cottagey vibes. I think those are from Horse Ranch, if you're wondering. And I just wanted to make this a good play space for the kids because to be honest, I didn't really give them much rooms to play or do stuff downstairs. Like I didn't give them a toy box or anything down there. I don't think that's the adult space, very prim and proper, fancy house down there. Not really, but you get what I mean. But I really wanted to make it feel cluttered and cute and lived in by a couple kids without going overboard because I have a tendency to spend like hours and hours in this game doing like a single bedroom because I get so finicky and nitpicky and want to add so much stuff into it and so much clutter to make it really feel lived in, but it's truly not necessary to add that much. So I wanted to make it feel cute, but without spending a ridiculous amount of time on it. I do put those right there in the landing for now. I believe I removed those posters though because I get us a rat or like the pygmy thing in The Sims. I don't know, one of those like my first pet stuff. I know, but one of those kind of rodents. I thought it was a good spot for it, and since I put the cat stuff, and we're at one with nature, they probably like animals. I am honestly terrified of rodents. To like a ridiculous degree. I know it's a completely irrational fear. They're not going to hurt me, but in my head, I'm terrified. I also do cut a few things out of the speed build. I did not include the bathrooms or that little landing section, or I think most of the entryway I cut out just because I want it to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more palatable. But we're going in there and we are decorating some of the entry. Again, a lot of neutral tones, just some cute stuff to make it feel like a nice family home. I did struggle for a long time what to do with this back wall, and this is a little embarrassing, but it's going to be a surprise to both of us what I ended up doing because I can't remember. But again, this house is not at all base game, and it's also not what I would call a budget home. I don't remember how much it ends up being, but I did not give myself any sort of budget at all. I just started building in Manage World, so I wasn't even keeping track. But I'm going around. I'm adding some more furniture into the living room. I was originally going to do two couches, but I decided that was a perfect spot for the cat tree. And it's hard to match the cat trees in this game. Like a lot of them just have really ugly swatches. So when I thought of that swatch with the brown tones and the greens, I thought it would fit really nice. And it did, so I kept it. This was me struggling with that bed and wanted to try something else. I do try the green one. I don't like it. It's worse. So I go back to this blue one. But again, I think this just has to do more with like memories and personal thoughts on this kind of bedding and bed frame. But I mean, it does look nice. I can't deny it looks nice. So that's why I did end up leaving it. I also did a lot of like darker wood tones in here. I mixed it up a little bit. With adding like the metal on the mirror and things like that. I also do put a desk in this room because since I put the rodent upstairs where I was going to put a desk, there's not really room for it, like a dedicated desk office space anywhere else. So I put a single tile desk in the corner. It's a good spot for it. And again, it's a primary for the parents, I guess, if you look at it that way. I also think the teen has a desk with a laptop on it, maybe. I could be wrong, but I may have given them one upstairs too in this room. This room I cut it out, but I went back and forth on for a while. I was originally using the like black and cream and purple tone of this bed, but I just didn't like the stuff to match with it. So I ended up going for a more like reds and browns and pink tone. I didn't want it to be super like bright in your face, red, colorful, which it kind of is, but I still wanted it to be muted like the rest of the house because I didn't want to page up and just have this room completely stand out. So I used the same kind of wallpaper everywhere. When they gave us updates to these swatches of that wallpaper, thank you, Simstein. Can we get more free updates for base game stuff, please? But I really like how it looks, so I put that in here. I also played around with putting the stuffed animal on the bed, but I feel like it just how I raised it up didn't quite work, so I ended up shifting it to the floor in the corner. There are some stuff in this house that I did not exactly play test that you might need to adjust slightly. Not like they can't walk around, but like that rocking chair, I have stuff around behind it. I don't know if it'll get in the way. I get confused with those. I'm going in now and I'm adding some backsplashes in the kitchen. I'm using the Parenthood tile because I don't think I used the Parenthood wallpaper, but that like trim at the bottom with this one is very similar, especially when it's in a different room and you can't even see it. I also went outside and I did some relatively simple landscaping. I had some like nice big like white and green trees and some bushes. I wanted it to feel kind of like it really blended in with the world around it with the nice foliage and everything. But again, I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want this to be a build that took me 90 million years. I wanted to be able to get it done relatively quick. But I do like what I end up putting around outside. And I love the cats and dogs trees. My favorite tree is actually a debug one from Get Together, which was one of like the absolute first Sims 4 expansion packs. I think like the second or third. Yeah, I don't think it was the first. I think Get to Work was the first. Um, but I didn't end up using that here. I just used the cats and dogs ones pretty much to blend it in with the rest of the world. And that white and green tree, I feel like gave that perfect essence of just adding a little bit of white around. Because to me, it's a very natural kind of color scheme with the browns and the greens and the foliage. But the white is what really makes it pop and gives it that clean kind of look. I went through a phase for a while where I was pretty much only using these ferns and those like low-lying hydrangea flowers for landscaping. So when I tried to do it here, I really wanted it to work, but it just felt like it didn't. And I ended up using these bushes instead. And I don't even remember this. Yeah, that's why, because I did switch it. I do a really dark purple flower because I wanted to have some sort of color, but not like color. Because again, the whole neutral palette is the thing, but I wanted to have something. So I go around and I add a few things for your Sims to do outside. I think I wanted to add a grill, but didn't like how it looked anywhere, so said screw it. If you want a grill, you can come buy one yourself. I didn't want to get in the way of the photo. But I kind of give a side yard around here, and I thought this was the perfect place to use that the bear rug that's shaped like a bear outside as a picnic blanket because it's kind of got like I bet someone that lives here hunts. That's all I'm saying. Like I definitely feel like they go on like the yearly hunting trips and stuff. So I'm not saying that's a real bear rug in this case, but I'm also not saying it's not. But we're pretty much wrapping up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open back up the game, kind of give you a quick showing of what the house originally looked like, and then place this here and give you a bit more proper tour without the screen jumping around everything. So let's hop in and do that, shall we? So now that we're in the game, this right here is the lot in question. It's the Bedlington Boathouse. I've always called it the Brindleton Boathouse, and I think it should be the Brindleton Boathouse. But we're going to open it up and I'll show you what we started with and what we were working with, and then I'll put my build down and show you how much I personally think it's better. It's an EA build, so I think we all know it's going to be a little better. This is the original. It has this really, I think, weirdly elongated porch. The windows make no sense, and there is literally not a single piece of landscaping on this entire lot. And honestly, I think this blue shingle was a little much, and it was a little high up. I do love the essence of it and the roof shape and the general idea. I think that there was a lot of good bones to it, but look inside. That's all the lighting, the single lamp up there. A lot of wasted space. And then when you come downstairs, in their version, you walk in through this tiny front door to this weirdly horizontal table. Honestly, this would have been better if they would have just that in itself, improvements. Not good, but improvements. You can also tell in the game this one is a starter home, so it's to build off of. I will give them that. Mine is not a starter home. Mine costs a lot of money. So when we go online to the gallery, I think I uploaded it. Let's go to lots. Yep. The Bedlington Boathouse Reno. We're going to place it down furnished and show you what kind of edits we made. Okay, first things first, you see a different roof color. I think the flower boxes honestly added a lot. If we got rid of those, it's nice, but that adds a lot of charm. I also switched up the porch, so in their version they have this level with this wall and this in one, so I pulled the porch back in one and out one. I think it looks a lot better with the roof line. And even over here where I have my weird windows, I have them hidden with trees. On the outside, again, very simple landscaping, and we have a little path that leads you around the bear rug into some monkey bars around the back that are a little off from the terrain paint. When you go down in, you come up to the front door here. You got a chess table and an easel, some good skill building activities. You walk right into a nice entryway. You got a place to take off your shoes, a little side table, a place to hang your keys, thermostat. You even have a little dresser thing in here. And I thought this was a good place to use a room divider because I didn't know what to put there. And I feel like aesthetically it gives really nice vibes. And then if you walk into the side here, you have a half bath. Nothing special. I didn't want to put too much either and make it ridiculously expensive. The house is already $76,000. It's already kind of ridiculously expensive. Then you walk in through this big archway straight ahead. You have a kitchen with, again, the best counters in the whole game. You come straight in, nothing fancy. You have the corner cabinet you can cook in, as well as some of these on the side. You have these chairs and the camera moving by itself. Best thing ever. I'm going to stop trying to use tab mode. But you have a good open concept with the living room. I just think it's so cozy in here with the cat tree and the blankets and the plant. I even put a little decoration box kind of hidden in the corner. And I'm pretty sure I did play test that a sim can get around it. I remember doing that. But if you come back around off to this side, you have either the stairs you could go up, or there's this little archway over here that leads you to a big formal dining room with a nice big bar too, and those cool cozy bistro posters. And on the other side of the dining table, there's also that giant Love Struck one. Come back around, I'll show you the rest of the downstairs first. You have a little nook, which is where I decided to put just a little table, a painting. We got a scratching post for the cats and a couple feeding bowls. Figured it was a good use of the space to make it actually somewhat functional. And then you walk in, you have that primary bedroom. I really like it in here. I know I crapped on the bed a little bit, but I am very happy with how it turned out with the blue plant in the corner and the little the blue on this and on the painting. I think it all did, again, turn out really well, even if though the bed wasn't my favorite. And then they also just have nothing special, but a little ensuite bathroom. I did put the rug at an angle, channeling the Sims team original with the table and couch and stuff, It's not why I did it. I just kind of liked it at an angle. Then if you go upstairs, you have 2 bedrooms and another full bathroom. First, you have the litter box up on the landing. Again, just a good use of the space, in my personal opinion. And you got the little like pygmy guy. I think that's what it is. It's a bulbous. My bad. And you got him up there, so that's a fun addition. Off to the side, my controls. You got a kid's bedroom. I think it's really cute. I thought this rug looked really nice with the beds. It kind of tied everything together, the blues and pinks and yellows. A couple dressers, the arts table, violin, this little bear thing, a toy box, pretty much anything a kid could need. A little Bigfoot Blarfy. Like, this seemed like the perfect house for him. Even a little bookshelf. And then you have the bathroom off to the side. I did dual sinks in here. In my mind, maybe the teen has one and the kids share the other. 3 towels hanging up and a shower tub combo. And then straight across, you have the teen's bedroom. This is probably what I took the longest on. But again, I cut most of that out of the build because I kept going back and forth, and you didn't need to see that in the speed build. But they have their own little kind of vintagey, low quality TV, a couple stuffed animals around, some like stuff in the corners. I like to think they're a musician or maybe kind of artsy or both. So I gave them knitting and a guitar, and I gave them these pictures from Love Struck up there. Like, that gives me really teen vibes, like kind of mean girl, kind of have a crush on those guys. I don't know. It felt right. And yeah, that is the whole build. I've always loved this lot, and again, I really just felt like she needed a little facelift and a little reworking, but the bones of the house and the like idea of it, I really liked. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I am just El Maski on the gallery, and if you go to my lots, it's not too far down. It's just the Bedlington Boathouse, Reno. I love you all. I hope you have a great day. And this might be a good point for me to say I do stream on Twitch, elmayski00. And yeah, maybe you guys come see me there sometime. Join me for a build or gameplay. Give me some suggestions. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Bye.